so you just got your ZMFs. You may have got them from us, you may have got them used, but yeah, we're gonna go in this video and kind of show you how to check over that ZMF, well, some questions you might have, where to find the answers, and just the best way to kind of get acquainted with your ZMFs. So yeah, let's go check out these headphones we just got. Oh, cool. Got a couple Verités here. Here's one of my personal Burmese paddock Verité open here. Pretty sweet set. And so, yeah, let's check this out. First thing we're gonna wanna do is if we have a 3mm hex key, 2mm hex key, those two things are gonna be your friend on the headphone. And I'm just gonna go in the side here, and I'm gonna, right there, just make sure that all these 3mm bolts on the gimbals don't move and they're finger tight. Obviously, if you go in there with a power tool or something, you're gonna be able to move these. As long as these are finger tight, they shouldn't move too much. So yeah, if by chance one of these is loose, comes out, or gets caught in the cup, you're gonna want to re-thread lock these. Reminder, with magnesium, you only want to thread lock them with VC3, which is Vibratite VC3. If it's aluminum, you can use Loctite, but the reason we don't like Loctite on the headphones is because that Loctite, if it gets on the finish, it'll corrode the finish, whereas the Vibratite VC3, not only is it a removable thread locker that'll work for removing and putting the bolt back in, but it won't mess your finish up quite as much. Other bolts you can check with this 3mm here are, let me just go back to the top here. These bolts that do the headband right there, you can kind of put these in and make sure that's tight. But typically these are not going to come loose unless they've been kind of amended before. And yeah, you can definitely go see our video on changing these bolts out in another video, or changing out the headband, I should say, as that's definitely something that you'll want to do with your headband phone if you want to get a better fit. But the first thing to do is I always say, try out the leather strap here. The leather strap is definitely my default thing. Unless you want the all vegan set, which that'll work too, but trying the leather strap out and then adjusting from there is usually the way to go with our headphones. And then the second thing that you're going to want to do is check a couple things to make sure they're right, so you can put them on, start to listen to music. First thing to do is on the headphone, you can kind of see here, if I get the right angle, that on the front of the headphones, let's go back to the top, you can see it easier. Front of headphones, as we put them down, you can see there's these lines right here. Those are kind of the stitching lines where the pads are hand stitched in the front. We want to make sure that those are matched, because if the ear pads are sitting at like two different angles, that headphone might sound weird, because then the chamber, the room that your ear is sitting in, isn't going to be at the right angle. So let's go ahead and adjust those right so they're right with the bolt. And then, there is no one way to have the pads sit. You can have them sit straight like this so that they match when you put the headphone down, or you can kind of angle them back and have this thicker part of the ear pad up a little bit, so that if you are one of those people that has a hard time getting a seal right behind your ear, that the thicker part of the pad is behind your ear, and then the pad would end up looking like that on the headphone versus like this. But start out with like that, see how they feel, and if they don't feel good like that, go ahead and twist the ear pad to see if that is working. The other thing you'll want to do is just look at the ear pads like this, make sure you have the same ear pad on each side. So just go ahead and really make sure you've got the same ear pad. If they look different at all, you may want to look at the other ear pads you have and make sure they're same, because that's definitely going to mess up the channel balance and all that stuff. Even if they look similar, and those minute changes in the small chamber that holds your ear will make a difference. And before you put them on, go ahead and just grab by the rod, so you're only holding the headphone by the rod, and just grab the gimbal and see if you can move the rod with the gimbal in your finger. So you should feel, as you move the cup back and forth, you should feel the rod moving in your fingers right here as you go this way, and it should be spinning. If you kind of have a tight grip and the rod is getting looser, you might have a loose rod, and then you'll want to apply some Vibratite VC3 thread locker to these rods, and go and check out our rod installment video just to make sure that these are tight and in there. Last thing we want to do is check the headband out. and make sure that it is congruent. And so, you know, on a headphone with the crescent band, like these have, it's probably going to be a lot easier to figure out, hey, are those crescent bands, you know, congruent? And really what you want to do is just hold the headphone like this and then see if the headphone is sitting at the same height on both sides. You can kind of see right here. You'll want to do this every once in a while anyways, whether, you know, the headphone's brand new, used, whatever. Just hold the headphone right in the middle, see if it's congruent. And then if it's not, kind of grab the headphone right by the third mark, right kind of here, right in there, and just pull up a little bit on the other side, and then go back, hold it in the middle, see if it's corrected itself, and if not, go ahead and make that adjustment again. And also, one really important thing with this, make sure the rods are on the same side on each side. You don't want to be bending a headphone that's not on the same latch on each side, because you want that congruency. And there we go. So now we've got the headphone. Let's see if we get a better light there real quick. Sitting right, you can see by those two lines that are right across from each other that that's congruent. Then we can go ahead and put the headphone on. So yeah, at this point you probably want to go listen to some music. You know, but you know, after you're listening to music, taking it off, admiring how sweet your ZMFs look, and how awesome they sound, and going back and forth, you might have some other questions, and that's a good time when you're listening to your ZMFs for the first time to go check out this section of the website, which is under the FAQ page. So you'll go to the website, you're going to want to go to this FAQ section right here, and then go to use, story, and restoration. And right at the top of this, there's a new owner section that's going to kind of answer most of the things you're going to want to know about your ZMFs. And, you know, most of this is going to cover all the stuff you want to know. But of course, if there's something not here you have a question on, or if you find something you're not sure how to fix, you'll definitely want to send us an email at support@zmfheadphones.com. That's support@zmfheadphones.com. And, you know, we're definitely going to help you out, whether you're a first-time owner directly from us, a used owner, or even if you found it in a pawn shop for $1, which you're a very lucky person, we'll still help you out. So yeah, I mean, burn-in is always a you know, hot topic. Does it exist? Does it not exist? We recommend it just for the mechanical properties. You know, I have said a few times, I'm always a little surprised at the differences I hear from headphones that have been used for a great amount of hours and come into the shop. Whether it's exactly mechanical burn-in of the drivers, the ear pads being worn in, the fit being more perfect. I can't say exactly which one or the other, but we do recommend that burn-in, even if it's just getting used to the headphones with brain burn-in and all that stuff. And then another thing, definitely if you're looking at your headphones, just a reminder, all the headphones we make are made from 100% pure wood. I'm talking about the cups, of course. And so what that means is that all these cups are machined from blocks of wood. And, you know, while we do our very, very best to make sure that they are perfect and have perfectly matched grain, you know, we cut them from 4x4 boards, or not 4x4 boards, 2-inch thick boards, and cut them down the board. A lot of the exotic woods we use are not thick enough so that we can do, you know, what you would think of as a book match piece of wood. And so you're getting a board where you're cutting, you know, one piece here, another piece, you know, and so on. And so the wood, while it may be next to each other, it's a natural thing. There may be a knot in a piece, there may be something that's natural. The things that we don't consider natural, things like cracks and stuff like that, you know, which some splits are natural, some are not. But if it's not natural, you would not get it as an A stock headphone. You may get it as a B stock headphone. So that's definitely something to look out for. We do have a bunch of different pad options, and that's kind of part of owning ZMF. So if you get your ZMFs and you're like, hey, I don't quite like the sound, or maybe I just want to try like a different flavor, definitely head over to the pads page, and you'll see we have graphs here that on the left side show the model, and on the bottom have a little graph here that shows neutral, euphonic, and warm. And then we have graphs for each headphone that show the different materials and how they affect the headphone. And don't get caught up and confused on, oh, hey, the same pad is listed in a different place on different headphones. Every headphone is designed differently with how the sonics are, you know, in the headphone, which means each pad won't affect the headphone in the exact same way. So definitely go and look at these graphs before you buy your pads. We only have the recommended pads listed on these graphs here. You can definitely put pads that aren't listed on these, but these are the ones that I like the sound of the most. So that'll be a good place to start with that. You know, the only other thing I guess that might be worth mentioning is that after time, you know, you're probably going to want to clean the headphone. I think that there is probably, you know, you have this beautiful wood headphone. You may want to clean it a lot. I would urge you to do the least amount of work on the headphone possible. So if you're like, oh, hey, you know, you notice there's a smudge on it, try wiping it with a dry cloth first before you like throw on a bunch of polish and polish it off. You know, we spend a lot of time making sure the finish on these headphones is really, really perfect. And if you do too much, it can wear away at the finish. And so definitely use the suggested cleaners. We have a cleaning video that I'll link below in this YouTube video. We really like the Mohawk products. We use a lot of those. The Nomad 1 cleaner you can get off Amazon is good. The Martin guitar polish is good. There's plenty of other stuff out there. But, you know, always do the least amount possible on your headphones. So that is one thing. And then the last thing I'll talk about that everybody emails us about is kind of what do I need to drive the ZMFs and what amp should I have? There is no, hey, you have to have this headphone amp, you have to have this, a tube amp, you have to have a solid state amp. I think a lot of people know that I like tube amps a lot, and I definitely do. I like the glow of the tubes. Maybe there's some placebo effect that's really nice. But what it comes down to is just that the lower the impedance output of the amp, the greater the damping factor is going to be. So with our headphones, all of them having 300 ohm drivers, the lower the impedance output of the amp, the greater the damping factor is going to be. It's going to be like the less decay coming at you from the headphone. And so the greater the impedance, it might open up the headphone a little more, make those, you know, treble and mids breathe a little more. The bass may be a little less firm, but maybe even a little more natural. And so there is no right amp for ZMFs as far as solid state tube amp is concerned, but I would urge you to try them on different types of amps, OTL, solid state, transformer based tube amp, you know, all those different amps that are out there, whether they're inexpensive or expensive. Our headphones are not that hard to drive. But if you don't like how the headphone sounds on a certain source when you get it, definitely try something else. So yeah, any questions, send us that email at support@zmfheadphones.com. Read the entire FAQ on the website. Definitely want to go through that. And then there's also a bunch of stuff on the forums on HeadFi, Super Best Audio Friends, Reddit, and elsewhere where you can find answers to a lot of questions. And we're definitely here to help if anything else comes up. So yeah, thanks for getting your ZMFs. Thanks for thinking about getting your ZMFs. Thanks for checking your local pawn shop, gold store, wherever, you know, local audio store to see if they have ZMFs. And hopefully you like them when you get them. And we're here to answer any questions you might have. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want. If you don't want to, that's cool. All right, have a good one. See you.